Hey everybody, welcome to the Creativity Cave. I'm so excited to share with you a great project today. It's pretty simple, but I think really striking and very, very fun. And I've got some great tips to go along with this. I'll apologize, I just kind of had a battle with a Pacific Point ink pad and it did not end well for me. The pad is fine. Um, but I love how cute this card is. It's using one of my favorite stamp sets, which is Flower Patch. I love this set because it's a two-step, actually it's a several, it could be 3, 4, depending on how you combine things, but it's a several step ink or stamp set. I love the graphic nature of the flowers, and of course it is fantastic because it comes with coordinating framelits. Who or what more could you possibly want? Well, I don't know who else you would want, but what more? There's nothing. Okay, so anyway, let me show you how I put this card together because like I said, it really is quite simple. I'm going to start with a crumb cake card base, which I have lost, so I think I will just grab another from my little stash of cardstock here. And I like crumb cake because it's a nice neutral color. And when I was working with this card, I tried Pear Pizzazz in the background. I tried Blushing Bride and Calypso Coral, and it was all just too much, if you will. But I loved adding the pool party, so crumb cake was the perfect fit for my card base. So I've got that set, and then I went ahead and embossed the large polka dot embossing folder onto my card. And I realized I hadn't grabbed my ink yet, so let me pull out my ink pads really quick. I'm using 4 colors. And let me just show you those colors. We've got Blushing Bride, Calypso Coral, Pear Pizzazz, and Pool Party. Oh, so pretty and just totally spring. So I'm going to take and stamp. This is one of the images in my stamp set. And I'm going to clean this because I can't remember if I cleaned it between stamping the Pool Party and the black center because it's the same stamp for both. And it would not be good to add black into my Pool Party ink pad. So then what I'm going to do, and I better not tempt the fates of my background here, and I'll add this is just my background paper that I use. I'm going to take and stamp just a few random little images across here. I don't need to do tons because most of them aren't going to show up, but I do kind of like having odd numbers because that just looks better and more natural in life, is having odd numbers of these. And I say that seeing that there's 6 on my card and only 5 here, but whatever. But I also am leaving this area fairly blank because I'm going to cover it up, of course, with my label. Now, speaking of my label, let me tell you about this. I cut one out. This uses the label framelits, and this is the piece that I'm actually going to mount to here. And because you will not see this, there's no reason why you can't use your cardstock and pull out the label from here and save on cardstock. I think that's a great tip. The only time I don't do that is if I'm mounting this to a white card and I've got something really dark. If you opened it up, you might see that window and that might not be what you want. But for the most part, it really works like a charm to save cardstock, of course. And even not so much as saving cardstock as just saving time. You don't have to find another piece that's that size to make it work. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere this with my fast fuse and place it on my card. I have a skinny little layer showing, which I kind of love. And then I will, of course, mount this to my crumb cake base. So we've already got my card practically done. All we need to do is a little stamping on my label. Okay, so like I said, is that the same size? It sure is. Whew. I'm using the Flower Patch stamp set. Now this is a stamp set that's actually not tricky, but it can be a little finicky, shall we say. I always am going to clean mine before I start using it with my stamp cleaner. And the reason is photopolymer tends to stick with dust and lint in the air. If it's sitting on your desk or wherever for a long time, it can pick that lint up and then you ink it up and then it got linty marks and that's annoying, right? So we don't want that. I'm going to ink it up. And whenever I ink up a big stamped image like this, I want to make sure I've got a good even coverage of ink. Now I do see one little fuzzy thing, but I'm going to let that go. And the reason is because I'm going to stamp a second layer right on top of this, so it's not going to be that big a deal. Okay, you can see a little fuzzy right there and there. But like I said, we're going to add some more over the top, so you're not going to really notice that. If we weren't, I would restamp this. Or actually, I would have cleaned it off before I stamped it down that time. Okay, next I'm going to add my Calypso Coral layer. And I know I have the stamp here somewhere. Same thing, I want to clean that off real quick, just to make sure it's not going to give me any trouble. And I give it a good look. Now, I don't do this every single time I stamp any single image. It's just these really big, very solid images in photopolymer that I just pay a little bit more attention to. Now, on this stamp image, I can see right here that this little thing sticks out a little bit. So I'm going to line it up with this little petal that sticks out a little bit more. Generally speaking, it does not matter. You can line this up however you want, but this is just like my OCD analness coming out. It doesn't show itself too often, but every once in a while it comes out and it's there. Okay, so that looks great. You don't even see that little fuzzy mess in the corner at all, do you? So good tips, right? That'll save you from restamping things from time to time. Again, it really just depends on your level of analness, and sometimes mine is pretty high. Often it's not, because if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I do proclaim to be quite a lazy stamper. Okay, I wanted to add some greenery to this, so I'm just going to stamp in Pear Pizzazz. I'm stamping off a layer so that I can have kind of a lighter layer. And actually, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll go like this. I wanted a little more greenery than what I had in my sample. And I think this, there's hardly any white space left, but over here there's more. And I see I got kind of a fuzz on here, so I'm going to clean it. By the way, I stamp this down before I take it to my cleaner. There's a reason why I do that. It's so that I don't have as much ink on here, and then it will get less dirty less quickly. All right, we'll try this again. I can see I'm looking pretty good fuzz-wise. And because this is clear, I'm just going to line it right back up over the top, and it looks fantastic. Now, I'm going to take my black ink and really make this pop out. And so I use archival ink. You can also use Memento ink. I prefer the archival because it's a little bit more bright black. And so I think it looks nicer. And whenever I stamp on top of another layer, I want to give it just a second to dry out. Just like watercolors, this can bleed a little bit if your inks are still wet when you're stamping. So I find it helpful to just give it a minute to dry before I stamp right over the top of it. And there is my black center. Doesn't that just really pop the card out? I hope you're at home nodding. Yes, Dina, of course it does. And then last but not least, I'm going to add my greeting. And here, of course, is where photopolymer stamps just so shine. You can see exactly where you're stamping it, and it's fantastic. I love this Happy Bloomin' Birthday, too, because it works so great with this beautiful floral stamp. All right, I'm going to turn that over and add a few dimensionals. Dimensionals are the key to making classy-looking cards, if you ask me. And then we'll place this right over the top of our stamping. And I think this is going to be a great looking card. Don't you? Yes, Dina, I can see you're just all at home nodding in complete agreement. Isn't this a fun card? It really came together so easily. You know, I jabbered on this whole time about all kinds of things, but look at how fun this card is. It's just so cute. You could, of course, mix up the color combinations and the different types of stamping that you do on this card, and it would be adorable. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, or actually want more information about this project, please visit my blog. There will be a link in the description of this video that will direct you to my blog where you can see the photos as well as the supplies I used. And of course, if you buy your supplies through me, I will welcome you into my Creativity Cave Rewards program. And I've got awesome benefits for my VIP members. And the perks are all described under customer rewards. And I would love to welcome you into this fantastic program. It really is great. In fact, the reason I have ink all over my fingers was because one of my VIPs had asked me a question about the difference between photopolymer and rubber stamps, and I made a video to explain that. So anyway, thank you so much for being here stamping with me today. I love stamping with you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.